Hello and welcome everyone, and we are live. Welcome to Esports and Information. My name is Harsh. We will react to the headlines for today, but before that, let me just share it on our other platforms. Let me just remind you we are going to start uh, posting some of the articles, some of the written content. If I think there are some of you who are outside who really appreciate the written word, and we definitely are going to publish some of the articles and bring forward the civilizational perspective that is lacking. I would say civilization perspective that is lacking from the mainstream media, and even if you read some of the editorials of the leading newspapers in our country, such as the Hindu and many others, even Indian Express for that matter, they do have some of the I would say some of the uh, you know they'll not belittle and disparage like the Western media houses, but they also will not put forward any of the civilizational perspectives that are supposed to be put forward to counter the narrative. And yep, so we are also going to put up some written articles on the social media platform that is X, that is very shortly. Our plan is to start that from Monday onwards, and we'll see from Monday onwards. That is what we are aspiring to do. And yes, we are going to bring some written content to you as well. All right, on that note, we will start. Let's see, what do we have today for reacting. All right. Okay, yes, the talk of the town. The national cricketing team of Bharat, the man in blue, they have come back from Barbados. Uh, they have reached their home. They have come back to. They've arrived in Delhi, the national capital. They have arrived. The team flew back from Barbados, where the summit clash of the tournament was held. The departure of the squad was delayed due to Hurricane Beryl. Okay, Beryl is also one of the guns in BGMI M762. If any of you guys play that game, um, yeah, yes. So the cricketing squad is back. They have won the World Cup. They are going to be the defending champions for the next edition of the T20 World Cup, T20 International World Cup. I would say yes. Now uh, this shorter format of cricket is really gaining popularity because test. Okay, agreed that test is the real test of the game, but nobody has so much available leisure time to watch uh, the entire streaming of that test match. But then this argument is also usually put forward that no, we cannot judge uh, that you cannot judge whether the which format of the game is gaining more popularity and which is not, just based on the number of viewers that it is pulling. But yeah, we have progressed into the era of who has more followers, who has more subscriptions, who has more uh, you know subscriptions, followers, who has more views, who has more reach, who has more engagement. Yes, so with the increasing digitization of everything, we have ushered in this era of numbers, subscriptions, followers, views, engagement. So yeah, it is T20 International, the shorter format of the game, that is pulling more numbers compared to the longer formats. And yeah. Next up, Bihar Health Department decides to offer MBBS course to medical students in Hindi as a medium of instruction. Um, yeah, this has been a colonial legacy that any new knowledge that has to be imparted, it has to be imparted in the language that is English. And we also increasingly see that, these days, if somebody who can speak very well in the language of English, uh, you know, we are floored. We think that, oh, this person is very well much literate, very well educated, and look at the cruel irony. Okay, I myself is speaking in English, and it's yeah, language is your destiny, I would say. Character and language both are your destiny. So the facility will be available in 21 medical colleges located in Bihar. What this does is, if you study in your first language, if you study in the language that you think, okay, you can really get rid of the, you know, there's a lag in understanding. Okay, let's say for example, if your medium of instruction is not your first language, all right, if you are a native, let's say Gujarati, if you are a native Gujarati and your medium of instruction is English, your brain will always translate these things into Gujarati and then you will understand them. So there is a time lag. There is a lag. Your brain takes some time to you know adopt that knowledge, adopt that information. But that problem is really not an issue when you have your medium of instruction in your native language. So I'm no expert, but when you study in your native language, you definitely understand things better. It's yeah. That is why even to this day, we there has been transfer of powers for like what, 7 decades now, but still we have majority of the intellectuals in the public sphere, people, public figures and all those people, they usually conduct themselves in their native language or maybe Hindi. And even we have these news television debates in Hindi that have more reach and more connection with people. We do have English things, but let's see what happens next. Next up is Putin, Vladimir Putin. Putin. The Russian president has sent a condolence message to President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Modi over the stampede in UP's Hathras district. Russian president also expressed hopes for the speedy recovery of all those injured in the incident. Yes, we discussed this yesterday. The death toll has reached somewhere close to 120 plus. Okay, more than 120 people have died in Hathras, and it was some sort of I would say, for the lack of a better word, a religious congregation that is supposed to be have been a person who claimed that he was a godman. All right, and even yeah, the godman, even for the lack of a better word, we don't know what kind of what kind of skill was that person professing for these many people to gather over there and flock to that venue. But yes, there was a stampede. Stampedes are unfortunate, I would say. There weren't exactly many safety precautions taken, but think of it, you can't really predict a stampede. All right, you cannot. It's just, stampede is caused by panic. you know there might have been some incident or something that may have triggered people to act in such a way to cause a stampede. So nobody could have predicted this, but still there had to be some sort of arrangement to guide the crowds to avoid such things. But you cannot. It's like a, we have this thing, cosmic order. The Aryan faith has this thing that there's this something known as cosmic order, and Varuna is the is the deity that controls this cosmic order. So what's bound to happen will happen. There is nothing in your power that you can do to change these things. So yep, it is what it is. I'm not justifying these deaths, or I'm not belittling or providing cover fire. I'm just saying you cannot predict these things. Next up is uh, in the parliament, in the lower house, that is Lok Sabha. These are the exact words by the Prime Minister. He says, regarding Manipur, I had spoken in detail in the previous session, but today I want to reiterate The government is continuously working to normalize the situation in Manipur. Over 11,000 FIRs have been filed, and more than 500 people have been arrested. We must also acknowledge that incidents of violence in Manipur are steadily decreasing, which means that it is possible to have faith in peace. All right, yes, Manipur, the northeasternmost state of the land of Bharat, has been reeling under this menace of law and order problem, because there are some disputes within the tribal groups of Nagaland and Manipur, and this area has been very sensitive. It is a very sensitive issue for the central government. They're trying to take steps, although some would say that those steps are half-hearted measures. But yeah, we can never know, because see, these are tribal disputes, I would say, and these things take time. All right, and Northeast has had a long history of intra-tribal conflicts translating into state conflicts. So it's going to take some time, and that is what the Prime Minister has reiterated in the Parliament House. Let's see how well he handles these things. Politicians have this habit of assuring people that there will be steps taken, but in the end, nothing really is done. Not that I'm saying that the current Prime Minister, that is Mr. Modi, will do that, but it is what it is. Politicians, they make tall promises, but they do not come forward when it's the time to take action. Next up is leader of opposition in the upper house, that is Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge. Uh, said opposition walked out from upper house because some misleading facts were allegedly presented by the government. How can something be allegedly presented? Either they presented something or either they did not present something. So are you putting up an allegation that they presented something? Are you not sure whether they presented something or not? So um, make of that what you will. But yes, the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, said opposition walked out from upper house because some misleading facts were allegedly presented by the government. Mr. Kharge questioned PM Modi over his allegations that Congress is the biggest opponent of the constitution. That you'll have to look at the live telecast of the Sunset TV. They live telecast all the proceedings of the parliament, and both the lower and the upper house. This incident specifically is about the upper house, that is Rajya Sabha. And time and again, many political parties, just because BJP is the largest political party right now in the country, and they have put forward this criticism of the Congress party that although they claim to be the biggest upholders of the constitution, and I would like to reiterate over here, I am categorically against over veneration of a document. At the end of the day, constitution is just a document, a set of rules that you're supposed to abide by. So you do not just you know uh, be in the aura of rational and honest conversation about the you know relevance of some of the sections and some of the articles of the constitution. But that is besides the point. All right, I have managed to spill my coffee, but yeah, some of it is saved. My computer is saved. That's yeah. So uh, so they think that the allegations that Congress party had imposed emergency to get some you know political benefits. It was done kept in mind the self-interest of the Congress party. It was not done to protect the constitution and protect the people. That is what the stand BJP has maintained. And for change, I do agree that the Congress party had imposed emergency not to protect the constitution but to protect its own self-interests. Rajya Sabha chairman, if you're not aware, in our polity, in the polity of Bharat, the vice president is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar expressed disappointment over opposition's conduct during the parliamentary session. I don't really, uh, you know, uh, the Congress Party. Okay, it's their conduct in the parliament is like hooligans, for the lack of a better word, because that is how they are acting. They are not letting things function. They are not letting others speak. This is what people do in. Imagine this. Okay, imagine this. There is a you people might have also come across situations like this. There are people out there in real life who do not let you speak. Okay, and then at the end of the discussion they claim that just because you could not speak, that means you just did not have anything to say about, and hence you lose the debate. So that is the tactic that is they're using. There are also videos doing around on social media how Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition, how he was signaling his allies in the India alliance to storm the wall of the parliament and disrupt the proceedings. But yeah, this is not civil conduct. If you really if you really have some genuine arguments, put them forward, discuss them, and see where it goes. Okay, but that's not what is happening, is it? And that makes me want to question the authenticity and the necessity of these parliamentary deliberations. So if you're not going to sit inside the parliament and have a decent, rational, and an honest conversation about issues, what exactly are you doing there? Are you going there to put up a show? Okay, if indeed that is the case, then you're not putting up a really good show. Okay, if are you going over there to just indulge in this game of mudslinging, because that is what usually happens in parliament, and to a large extent that is also what is happening in public discourse as well. Okay, there is no meeting of common ground between people who tend to disagree politically. Okay, if I support, let's say, the right wing, then I'll accuse the left wing of doing something. Okay, then the person who from the left wing will also bring up some instances. Okay, then why did you do this? So it's just simply, imagine a game of uno cards. Imagine a game of cards. Okay, you bring up a card, the other side will bring up some other card, then the earlier side will again bring up another card. So this conversation, the political discourse in our country, is literally going nowhere. Okay, they're just simply in the parliament, they are just simply indulging in the game of mudslinging. So yes, Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar expressed disappointment over opposition's conduct during the parliamentary session. In his valedictory remarks after the end of the session, Mr. Dhankar termed leader of opposition walking into wall of the house a disgrace to parliamentary conduct and propriety. Calling the house a temple of deliberation, discussion, dialogue, and debate, Mr. Dhankar also said that he expects members of the house to exemplify their conduct. I would say if such are the members, you should have really seen it. Okay, it was pointless yelling from the opposition, and the prime minister was simply just giving his speech, trying to ignore, making it seem that the constant yelling does not bother him, but it was very much apparent on his face that he was bothered by this. So that really makes me want to question: is really the parliamentary form of democracy worth it? Because if you're not going to sit down and have a conversation about the upliftment of your own nation, then why exactly is this new parliament? Is that really worth it? We could have simply just done it in the old parliament house. All right, next up is High Commissioner of Bharat to Sri Lanka inaugurates the premium petrol with 100 octane XP100 in Colombo. The event marks launch of high performance fuel in the island, making it the eighth country in the world to provide it in its market. All right, all right. Indian Oil is now sending across premium quality of petrol, high performance fuel to Sri Lanka. And yep, Sri Lanka is a close ally, I would say, a next door neighbor that we have. Um, The relations with Sri Lanka, up to a certain extent, are a responsibility of Bharat, I would say, because the moment we let go of Sri Lanka as an important ally, it will, at the very next second, it will run. The polity of the West is divided into two camps. Okay, either you are in the Russian camp, or either in the or you are in the Western camp led by United States, and the other members in the Western camp are the countries of Western Europe. Okay, so if one of the countries, has had some misunderstandings with the West, so now that country will use it as a bargaining chip. It will say to the West that these and these are the conditions. If you do not meet these conditions, we will shift our loyalties towards Russia. And and that puts the countries in the Western camp at some disadvantage. And that is what also with that is also what is happening in countries of the Asian continent. But I would like to say, but we have this cultivated this image and cultivated this image of nobility in Asian subcontinent, because uh, we have been benevolent when it comes to aid, be it economic, be it material aid. So countries of Asia are somewhat aligned. I wouldn't say entire Asia, countries of Asia and the East Asian countries such as Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and all these countries, more more than often they see Bharat in a positive light. Okay, so yep. Japan started issuing new 10,000 yen, 5,000 yen, and 1,000 yen banknotes, which marked the first redesign since 2004. The new banknotes incorporate three-dimensional hologram technology to combat counterfeiting. The first use on any country's currency, Bank of Japan said. I would really hope one day that the government, in our country, that is the union government, sees sense. They have venerated Mohandas Gandhi beyond a point. Okay, we have kept him um, on our currency notes for quite some time now, and they have somehow boxed us. All right, the political discourse in our country has been outlined. So if you are somebody who do not agree with the thinkings and the works and the ideology propagated by Mohandas Gandhi, you are considered as an outlier. Okay, and hence we see only him on our currency notes. Okay, um, so it's time we think about it. There are other far deserving candidates for that feat of being there on the currency notes of our sovereign nation. But yeah, let's not talk too much about it, or I will get cancelled before even beginning my uh, launching my own platform. I would get cancelled, and we don't want that. So yeah, all that I can say right now. Politically, I categorically disagree with the ideology and thinkings of Mohandas Gandhi and his followers. So yeah, so Japan has launched, you know, a three-dimensional hologram technology on its notes. Okay, to combat counterfeiting, you cannot, make replicas of the currency notes that are made by using this technology. Bank of Japan said that current banknotes will remain legal tender following the circulation of new bills. Okay, okay. What else? Let's see. Next up is the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, the state with the highest population, has come out in the open and given a statement to the media regarding the Hathras stampede. And these are his exact words. Let's analyze, let's react. What does he mean? The state government has decided to conduct a judicial inquiry into this matter, which will be chaired by a retired judge of the High Court. Yeah, so a judicial inquiry should suffice. This isn't exactly, uh, I would like to think that nobody would have deliberately, orchestrated this stampede, because it's not practically possible to orchestrate a stampede. Because if you really plan, if indeed you plan and orchestrate a stampede, you yourself will become a victim of it. Okay, it's not like an orchestra. Okay, like you're holding that and you are orchestrating a stampede. Things don't work that way. So this was definitely unintentional, non-deliberate. So there is a judicial inquiry, and that inquiry will be chaired by a retired judge of high court. It will delve into the entire incident, including administration and police involvement, with the participation of retired senior officials. Okay, so there are also going to be police officials, retired police officials, going to be part of that committee. Those found guilty will be punished accordingly to prevent recurrence of such incidents. Obviously, yes, people who would be found guilty after the inquiry will be brought to justice, and it would be made sure that such events do not occur in the future. And we will ensure suggestions and standard operating protocols are formulated for the implementation in future events. Okay, yes, whatever they learn from this, they are definitely going to put some standard operating procedures in place. And yep, I would say that the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, it's a, I would say it's an unpopular opinion. You guys are going to call me, somebody who is a hate mongerer, but he is the only more such leaders who could really, take a stand. And he hasn't done anything. People do usually perceive him as a person who usually hates Muslims, but I wouldn't say he has done anything hateful towards them. All he is doing is simply just um, making sure that law and order situation is perfect. He's not, he's not trampling upon the rights of Muslim. Obviously, Muslims in Uttar Pradesh are free. They have their freedom of expressions. They have their fundamental rights. It's not like Yogi is going everywhere and asking them to not speak, not worship in the way that they want. So yeah, we need more political leaders like him, more public figures in the public domain. All right, next up is External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar meets Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Astana, raises concern over Indian nationals in war zone, Bharatiya nationals in war zone, and seeks their safe return. All right, so there's a meeting going on in Astana, that is Kazakhstan. Astana is the capital of Kazakhstan, and the name of that organization is SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So it's a group of countries that have come together as a counterweight to the influence of West in the Asian subcontinent. Okay, so hear this. Okay, hear me out. The countries of the West, obviously, they have realized that the entire political canvas of Europe has been played out. Okay, each country in the European continent and in the West, they have chosen their sides. So either they are on the side of Russia or either they are on the sides of US. Okay, so that ground is played. It's done. Okay, so what the West is doing is to further legitimize its position as the leader of the world. They are trying to win over more people from the Asian continent. Okay, so their focus has more their focus is more and more shifting towards the Asian part of the world, and they are trying to lure more and more members towards their side of the camp. And there are some bodies in the Asian continent as well that are focusing on uh, you know galvanizing the unity of the Asian continent. Okay, because although it might seem that the West is trying to just get more, people to its side, there are also some, some vested interests over there. So we also need a strictly Asian body to consolidate the Asian voice. And yep. So yeah. The External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, he is having meetings with Sergei Lavrov. Lavrov is the foreign minister of Russia. They're having conversations, and Russia always manages to stay in the news. So since we are speaking of the, Shanghai Cooperate SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, uh, all of the countries, all of the member countries have sent their political leaders, that is their presidents or the prime minister, including Russia and China. It's Putin and Xi Jinping. Both of them are visiting. Both of them also held meetings on their, on the sidelines of this. Okay. So here it says Putin and Chinese president have expanded the SCO, a club founded in 2001 with Russia, China, and Central Asian nations to include Bharat, Iran, and Pakistan as a counterweight to the West. Obviously, yes. So they are trying to, counterweight the influence of West. I wouldn't exactly say counterweight the influence of West. It is somewhat of a wall to not let the Western penetration into the this side of the world. So that is what they're doing. So yep, the organization has firmly established itself as one of the key pillars of a fair multipolar world order, Putin said, adding that bilateral ties between Moscow and Beijing were at the best in history. Yeah, so I would say Russia and China have joined forces, and this has been the case since after 2014, when um, Russia ventured militarily inside Crimea, the Crimean Peninsula. Since then, there have been a flurry of sanctions that have been imposed on Russian Federation from the side of the West, including other countries of Europe as well. So to circumvent those sanctions, Russia is seeking help of China, because China is an economic superpower, so it can provide some cushion. Okay, it can provide some cushion to the blows that Russia is taking due to these sanctions, and that is at the core of the nexus between Russia and China. And the West seems to have realized this, and hence we see increasing countermeasures taken by the European countries. Very recently, we have discussed that the European countries, they are increasing tariffs on electronic vehicle imports from China. So yes, it is out in the open, and even the countries of Europe, they are taking necessary steps to counter, the abilities of China to provide cushion to Russia as well. So they have come together in SCO. Putin and Xi, they are discussing things. Ahead of this meeting with Xi, Putin also met Turkish President Erdogan, Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, President of Azerbaijan, Mongolia. Uh, The Prime Minister of Bharat, Modi, who is expected in Moscow later this month, would not attend the Astana gathering, sending Foreign Minister Jaishankar instead. Okay. China and Russia declared a no limits partnership in February 2022 when Putin visited Beijing, days before he sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine. Since then, Xi and Putin have deepened relations. Okay, okay. So, yeah, but it is what it is, I would say. Uh, Okay. Xi and Putin believe that US dominated post Cold War era is competitor, whereas United States considers China as its biggest competitor, whereas United States views Russia as a threat. All right. So here is the difference between outlook that the United States has. US President Joe Biden says the century will be defined by an existential contest between democracies and autocracies. Okay, okay. So then, isn't Russia a democracy? But there is this increasing, I would say, there is this increasing view among the people of the West that the elections in the elections of the Russian Federation and the higher offices of the Russian Federations are rigged. So, like, yeah, United States believes that it is only their elections that are fair. Rest of the elections are rigged, or in some manner not authentic. Okay, it is what it is. There is one thing that is very important to note over here is in a move that highlighted Beijing's pragmatic economy driven approach. Xi presided over a ceremony on Wednesday with his Kazakh counterpart just hours before meeting Putin to mark the departure of a fresh batch of cargo along the Trans Caspian international transport route. Okay, now this is very important. All right. Trans Caspian International Transport Route. The route, also known as the Middle Corridor, starts in Southeast Asia and China, runs through Kazakhstan, the Caspian Sea, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and further to Europe. It has been heavily promoted by the West as an alternative to Asia Europe land transit via Russia. Okay, so So there is something known as middle corridor. Okay, the West, that is Europe, would no longer need Russia to send across its goods and commodities to the Asian part of the world. They have an alternative route that they like to call it as middle corridor. All right, and just prior to meeting Putin, Xi Jinping did chair a meeting discussing this. He marked the departure of a fresh batch of cargo along this route. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. Uh, Starts in the Southeast Asia and China. It starts somewhere in China, runs through Kazakhstan, then in the Caspian Sea, then through Azerbaijan and Georgia, and further to Europe. So it is making up this land route where um, the West would no longer need Russia. Okay, they can simply just get goods through this route. So it is, I would say, this is something for Russia to think about, because if this really fructifies, if this really materializes into a a viable and economically viable alternative, they would lose some of the leverage, some percentage of bargaining chip that they have. Okay, Belarus will attend the Astana summit for the first time as a full-time member. United Nations Security General Antonio Guterres is expected to attend the Astana gathering. United Nations is no longer needed unless and until there is a major overhaul. Okay. Next, very interesting update from SEO. After the SEO, okay. So the Turkish president, that is Erdogan, all right. Erdogan, speaking to Putin on the sidelines of the SEO summit in Kazakhstan, said he believed a fair peace suiting for both sides was possible. He is talking about the Ukraine Russia conflict right now. And so earlier, there were reports that Turkey has offered that Turkey could act as an intermediary between Russia and Ukraine, both. All right. But that has been ruled out from Russia. When this question was asked, okay, and this question was asked to Dmitry Peskov. Dmitry Peskov is a Kremlin spokesperson. Okay, these are his exact word. No, it's not possible, said Peskov when asked by a Russian television interviewer whether Erdogan could assume such a role, according to Russian TASS news agency. Okay, the Turkish presidency said that the two leaders also discussed the war in Gaza and ways to end the conflict in Syria. Turkey is a member of NATO, the United States led Western military alliance. Okay. Unlike other NATO leaders who have imposed sanctions on Putin's government, Erdogan has tried to maintain good relations with Russia and Ukraine throughout the conflict. So there is, I would say, there is some room left for both the countries, for both the parties, NATO and Russia, to negotiate, because Turkey is, I would say, the only NATO country that is having cordial and friendly relations with Russia. So if indeed NATO personnel and Russians, they want to sit and negotiate, I would say Turkey would play some key role over there to facilitate such negotiations. But right now, The Russian side has denied that Turkey cannot play the role of a mediator when it comes to its conflict with Ukraine, because Turkey could have some bias because Turkey is a NATO member and Ukraine is aspiring NATO member, I would say. So having Turkey as a mediator in this conflict uh, wouldn't be unbiased, wouldn't be fair to Russians. Since we are speaking on Russia and NATO, all right. There has been a statement from Russia's foreign ministry. Russia will respond to Finland's decision to grant United States access to its military bases. Okay, a spokesman from Russia's foreign ministry said on Wednesday. Okay, the country of Finland, if you visualize the world map right now, you would see that the country of Finland shares a large land border with Russia. It is a geographical neighbor, and Russia has made this very much clear. Okay, now it has been very much clear and out in the public domain that if any of its geographical land neighbor is offered NATO membership, it would tantamount to crossing a red line. All right, and Finland is the recent addition to NATO. Finland, okay, joined, became a full-time NATO member in 2023. That is 1 year ago. All right. So here is the exact statement. I can only confirm that Russia will not leave unanswered the NATO military buildup on our border, which threatens the security of the Russian Federation. We will also take the necessary measures, including of a military technical nature, to counter aggressive decisions by Finland as well as its NATO allies. We have covered this in one of the previous live streams, that there is also some international immigration or migrant crisis that is currently precipitating on the borders of Finland and Russia. So if you have been following international politics, you must have also read about Belarus migrant crisis. So to give a brief about people who don't really know what that was, Belarus is politically very much proximate towards Russia. All right. Now, Belarus was considered as a gateway into Europe. There were many illegal immigrants that were coming into Belarus and going further into Poland through Belarus, and creating menace, because we know these days how illegal immigration and even immigration for that matter is causing problems for Europe. So it was alleged and suggested that Russia and Belarus are collectively orchestrating and engineering these crises to increase troubles for the Western world and Western Europe. And those were allegations. We don't know whether they are in fact true or not. But the same thing is right now taking shape in Finland. There is increasing immigration crisis, and the countries of the West have alleged that it is indeed Russia that is engineering and orchestrating these things. We don't know. These are all allegations as of now. Right. So the Finnish parliament on Monday approved a defense cooperation agreement with the United States that was signed in December 2023. Okay, they had some defense cooperation agreement. The agreement opens 15 Finnish military facilities for potential use by the United States. Finland became a NATO member in 2023. Okay. So the Parliament of Finland has approved a defense cooperation agreement with the United States, and under that agreement, there are somewhere close to 15, military facilities of Finland that could be used by United States, and uh, there will be NATO presence more closer to the Russian borders, and let's see how that plays out. Okay. Since we are talking about United States, we will add one more information over here. It's just more like a joke, and okay, so the United States says it had no involvement in an attempted failed coup in Bolivia. We covered this in one of our previous live streams, that there was a military coup in the South American country of Bolivia. The military general over there, they tried to storm the parliament or the residence of the political leader and try to overthrow democracy and take over. And he was apprehended at the very gates. He was arrested. There was a public example made out of him in full presence of media. And now, uh, there were media reports doing rounds on the internet and on social media that indeed it was CIA that did all of this. But this is the statement from White House that was made on Wednesday. It says the United States had no involvement in a failed coup attempted in Bolivia last week. The US had no involvement in that, the White House spokesperson told the reporters. It is what it is. And it's also come out that the president himself had requested the military commander to do something to boost his popularity. And now the president claims that he had no prior knowledge of the military coup. So I don't really think that the reality is going to come out of this. We'll definitely get some twisted narrative. And as time goes by, people will forget it. Mhm. Let's see, what else do we have? IMD. Okay. The National Weather Forecast Agency of Bharat. Okay, let's come back to our country. Forecasts very heavy to extremely heavy rainfall over northeast India during the next northeast Bharat during the next 4 to 5 days. All right, so yes, the rains, Lord Indra has consolidated his footfall over the territory of Bharat. So very heavy to extremely heavy rainfall over northeast Bharat during the next 4 to 5 days. Even there are warnings of heavy rainfall over other states as well. So yep, even Uttarakhand for that matter, heavy rainfalls are predicted in the regions of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So let's see. Let's hope the authorities are very well prepared. Everything is in place. Okay, it said isolated, extremely heavy rainfall is likely to occur over Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and Meghalaya. Light to moderate rainfall is also likely over Kerala, Lakshadweep, coastal Karnataka, Goa, Gujarat, Madhya Maharashtra, coastal Andhra Pradesh, interior Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana during the next 5 days. The weather office has also predicted heavy rainfall over J&K, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Haryana till Sunday. So up until the end of this week, expect heavy to extremely heavy rainfalls. All right, this is somewhat. So in the state of Maharashtra, there, you know, there are some cases of Zika virus that have come to light. Center issues advisory to states in view of Zika virus cases from Maharashtra. All right, post COVID, all the countries have grown really, paranoid about some diseases or something spreading through viruses. So this is something that really catches the attention of the governments early on, because we have had this experience of pandemic and the problems that we face once they are out, it becomes difficult. you know so there are some cases of Zika virus in the state of Maharashtra. Okay, so the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has taken cognizance. So the ministry has said that Zika is associated with microcephaly and neurological consequences in the fetus of affected pregnant ladies. Okay, it also affects pregnant ladies and the fetus that the pregnant lady is carrying. So there are some neurological consequences of the unborn child. And the states have been advised to alert the clinicians for close monitoring. So if there is some case, a similar case that comes to you, the concerned people have been advised that you closely monitor them, alert the relevant authorities. States have been urged to instruct the health facilities and in the affected areas or those catering across affected areas to screen the pregnant woman for Zika virus infection. I would say this is step in the right direction. Although the instructions are in place, let's see how many of the clinicians they uh, follow these things. Obviously, government is definitely going to take cognizance. They're obviously going to put some guidelines and everything in place, but in the end it is the person who is executing these guidelines. Is he or she conscious enough to take necessary measurements at the right time? That is what will count. So yep, let's see. Because I would say, yeah, post pandemic, all the countries, not just us, all the countries have learned this lesson the hard way, that even something small as a virus can shut down your economy, bring your democracy to a standstill, and everything will shut down. And yeah, so a lesson hard learned. uh, all the countries, even see, one of the countries such as Cuba, not all the countries have completely come out of the blows that COVID dealt. All right, and I'm just not talking about the people have recovered from the disease or not. Obviously people have recovered, but what about their economies? Okay, what about the economic setbacks due to COVID that these countries are facing? And many of the countries are still reeling under the economic effects. They regularly have to take some economic help from bodies such as World Bank and IMF. So Cuba is one such example. Many other countries, many other smaller, underdeveloped and developing countries, uh, they are still seeking help. They have not completely risen on their own 2 feet. So taking such preemptive actions is the key to neutralizing the effect of these virus. Next up is Egypt. Okay, Egypt overhauls cabinet as economic pressures and power cuts persist. So there is this complete reshuffling of the cabinet. There are also some new members that are included as economic pressures and power cuts persist. Okay, so deputy finance minister has been promoted. The ambassador to EU to head foreign ministry. All right, all right. Let's see if the overhauling of the cabinet, whether that turns around the fortune of Egypt. Egypt, as we have covered this in our previous live streams, they are, facing this nagging issue of power cuts. All right, the students, they are not able to study. People, they are not able to conduct their day-to-day activities due to these power cuts. And this has happened more so because the summer temperatures in Egypt have touched very high, and this has led to heat waves. And heat waves in turn have triggered, have shot up the power demand, because more and more people are now moving towards using air conditioners. And Egypt, majority of its electricity is generated from fossil fuels and natural gas, and it does not have enough foreign currency. It does not have enough forex reserves to buy natural gas, import natural gas to generate electricity. So they are resorting to power cuts. And but there is some relief on this front. Egypt has recently received large amount of liquidity from World Bank, IMF, European Union, and UAE for that matter. So I would say yes, the relief has arrived. Let's see how prudently and how pragmatically the country of Egypt uses the resources that has been given to it. And let's see. All right, Israel. Okay. For those of you who don't know, okay, all the inflow of goods, be it any aid, be it anything at all, it goes through Israel. All right. Now Israel charges money, okay, on behalf of Palestinian Authority, uh, you know for carrying out such services. So here is the piece of information: Israel transferred 435 million shekels, shekels is the currency over there. So it loosely translates to $120 million of withheld tax revenue to the Palestinian Authority. All right. Israel collects taxes on goods that pass through Israel into West Bank on behalf of Palestinian Authority and transfers the revenue to Ramallah under a long-standing agreement between the two sides. Okay, so it first collects the tax itself and then transfers it to the Palestinian people, Palestinian Authority. All right. So there are also some deductions that they do. All right. So since the October 7 attack, the Israeli Finance Minister Smotrich, if who I hope I'm saying that correctly, you know, Bezalel Smotrich has withheld sums earmarked for administration expenses in Gaza. Israel also deducts funds for electricity, water, and costs to treat Palestinians in Israeli hospitals. So that is also being done. Even after these deductions, Palestinian officials say that the amount is far below taxes collected each month. Okay. The ultranationalist Smotrich has opposed to sending funds to the Palestinian Authority, which uses the money to pay public sector wages. He accuses the PA of supporting the October 7 attack in Israel, led by the Islamist movement Hamas, which controls Gaza. Yep. So it has transferred some money to, give some relief to the people of Palestine. I would say a very well deserved relief after, the war has ravaged their economy. Yep. All right, we seem to have reached the end of the live stream for today. If you like such content, subscribe to us, like our video, share our videos on your other social media platforms. We are trying to set the record straight for Bharat. We are aiming at countering the narratives from the West that they like to propagate. And yes, please do join the movement that we aspire to start. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for joining.